Zenith, you're on mute. You may want to restart.
Okay. Can everyone hear me loud and clear now?
All good,
Yes.
Z.
Okay, great. A very good day to all of you joining us today. My name is Zinat Islam, and I'm the Relations Manager, Academia Network at Yunus Center. The session that will commence today is titled Social Business Developments in Africa, Some Examples. And we will hear many of our network partners and collaborators talk about their activities in the region. We are very happy to have Makerere Business School, Uganda, join us today. We were hoping to have an event live in collaboration with some of the universities in Uganda, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic and lockdowns, we were unable to do that. But we are extremely happy to have the universities with us today doing this session. So it is a great honor for me to share that our moderator today is Professor Waswa Balunia, who's the principal of Makerere Business School. And we're also joined by many spectacular personalities who will be the discussants in today's conversation. We have Mr. Felix Brooks Church, co-founder and CEO of Sanku Project Healthy Children. We're also joined by Mr. Danielle Ngwenya, economist, social entrepreneur, founder and team leader, iAfrica Foundation. We have Ms. Monica Mururiwa, Director, Information Communication and Technology Services, the Catholic University of Zimbabwe. We're also joined by Mr. Graham Benton, CEO, co-founder, Zaidi Technologies. We are also joined by our very own Mr. Robert Akoko, Project Coordinator, Yunus and Youth, the YY Foundation. We have Ms. Catherine Gerner, Investment Advisor, East and Southern Africa and MENA Region, Foundation Grameen Credit Agricole. And finally, last but not the least, Mr. Marcel Kumson, Program Lead, Challenges Ghana, the Challenges Group. So we have a spectacular panel today with very interesting stories to hear. So without further delay, I would like to call upon our moderator today, Mr. Waswa Balunia, Professor Waswa Balunia, to start the session. Professor Waswa, would you kindly turn your camera on and the sound on, please?
Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to all of you who are on this call this afternoon. It's a pleasure for us in Makerere University Business School to be part of this event. As you may have heard from my discussion yesterday, that Professor Mohammed Yunus has visited us twice and has engaged with various social business entrepreneurs in the country. And so it's a pleasure for us to be part of this, because we have been driving social business in the country, especially in the teaching. Now that we have several PhDs in the subject matter, we feel very privileged to be part of this. I'd like to have a long list of people who are going to speak. So I would like to start off with, I hope we've agreed in this order which I have. We'll start off with Felix Brooks, who is the Felix Brooks Church, who is the co-founder and CEO of Sanku Project Healthy Children. As you'll appreciate, friends, on this call, that what is the essence of social business? And enable us address social problems that we have in our societies. And it's important that we get these stories so that those people who are listening in, those people who want something similar, can pick lessons from it. So my panelists this afternoon, we have 5 minutes each, and we shall follow up with the 1 or 2 questions after you made the presentation. Felix, you're welcome. Please, let's hear your story.
Great, thank you so much, and thank you to the Yunus Center for this opportunity. So when we started, we thought about solving problems essentially like a flow chart. What was the biggest problem? And worked our way backwards. And so where we work in East Africa, the biggest issue that we've realized is malnutrition. So malnutrition is caused when people don't eat enough foods that have vitamins and minerals that we critically need to fight disease, to grow strong, to be smart. And we realized pretty quick that the reason for this is the majority of East Africans that live in rural parts of the country consume their food, their staple foods from small village level mills that essentially feed that entire village. So there are strategies for what's called large scale fortification or industrial fortification, adding nutrients to staple foods like sugar, oil, salt, flours. But unfortunately, those strategies don't get to the people most at risk. And so our intervention is really to close the gap in nutrition and fortification by addressing it at the village level. So what we did was literally invent a machine that adds key nutrients to the flour at that small village level mill, adding things like iron, zinc, folic acid, all these critical micronutrients that we need. And then what we did was wrap that machine around literally a business model that incentivized that miller to do the job, essentially to afford that job. And the result is now there's abundance of fortified flour, nutritious flour in the marketplace, and mothers can afford it. And today we're working with close to 500 mills throughout East Africa, feeding close to 2 million people every single day with better nutrition, taking us one step closer to saving millions of lives. The other effect of this is obviously we're creating a lot of jobs. We're a team of 40 now, we'll be 400 in about 5 years. We're in Tanzania right now, and we'll be in at least 3 to 5 countries throughout East Africa in 5 years, reaching 25 million people. So that's in a nutshell what we do, and welcoming any questions.
Maybe just some kind of follow-up question. Did the population realize that the food didn't have these nutrients? And do they see this difference?
Yeah, so the way fortification works, so adding any nutrients to a staple food, whether it's iodized salt or vitamin A and oil, and in our case, iron, folic acid, B12, and zinc to flour. These nutrients are invisible in the sense that they don't change the taste, the look, the color, the way the food cooks. And that's very important because we're not trying to change behaviors, and we definitely don't want to alter the food, especially the favorite staple food that everyone eats. And so the way fortification works, it has this huge positive impact and very cost-effective impact, yet in essence is invisible in the sense it doesn't change the food. And so our model relies not only that it doesn't change the food, but also it doesn't change the cost. In that way, we're not dependent on behavioral change, which is very costly and quite frankly, very hard to scale.
Thank you, Felix. Our audience, please keep the questions with you. Maybe if possible, put them in the chat. Let me go to our next panelist, Danielle Ngwenya. Danielle, please unmute.
Thank you very much, Prof. I'm happy to be here once again. Happy belated birthday to Professor Mohammed Yunus. And I'm privileged to make another presentation. This is the third time I'm speaking at this forum, bearing in mind the original purpose from which we had this conversation, that we're trying to build an ecosystem for social business in East Africa. So I'm really looking forward, and I know this is a major milestone, having a person like Professor was model is really a good step towards us achieving that ecosystem that we wanted for social business. I'm the co-founder of Africa Foundation, a youth organization with focusing in areas of education and mostly, to be specific, is skilling in areas of employability, entrepreneurship, education, and advocacy in related areas of youth empowerment. As shared before, we've done a number of trainings across the regions and been targeting all youth that are in school and out of school. So even the ones that are dropouts, we've actually made some programs for them. So it's been a good ride for the last 5 years. And out of that, I'll just mention a few of the projects that we've also done as an organization that still go ahead to show how social business can actually transform our communities, especially here in East Africa. And one of them is in the area of student leadership development. This looks to be an area of governance, an area that will be more, you would think would not discuss it on a platform like this of social business, but actually we found a way that can actually be sustainable. We do develop student leadership material to guide schools on how they can groom, select, groom, and nurture leaders in schools, starting from prefects, club leaders, and all that. And the major challenge here was because we found out that almost 90%, actually more than 95% of our schools don't have a policy that speaks to how student leaders are effectively elected, inducted, and managed. And so we did some research, and then came up with recommendations also shared with the Ministry of Education. And now what we're doing is that we're developing material to be able to share with these institutions. We realize it may take some time for it to be adopted by the government, so we make sure we can commercialize our material that can be actually taken up for us to stay sustainable. So in a way, we are contributing to our governance and democracy in our country by training, by helping in training children right from that level of infancy. Because our belief is, how can you fight corruption and bad governance at national level if you're grooming, if you're not providing the right grooming for the leaders of tomorrow? The second one is musomesa.org, which is an online platform where we train teachers. This pandemic has shown us that we need to think outside of the box. So we provide a platform where we train teachers to be able to develop content that they can actually commercialize online. So that means we'll take them through how to make a video off your phone, and how to a clear one that can be then, and that then someone at home, a child at home, can be able to access it and do home study with their parents or with whoever is at home, and be able to catch up with these people. Because the lockdown has surely shown us that our traditional education delivery systems have been challenged and they are not sustainable. Those are two of our key areas. We had already started working on them before the pandemic hit, and then they stalled a bit because we're doing more of physical interaction. Bringing me forward to what I think have been the challenges that we've met through this whole movement, and something that I believe we can discuss as members of this social business movement in East Africa. Number one, again, I would like to reiterate the idea that we shouldn't leave this conference without affirming the institutional blocks we're trying to build for social business, in terms of providing the leadership, that is having like a committee that has members across different sections, across business, across education levels, across areas that we believe are of interest to transform our society and sell this idea of social business within East Africa. We need, and I'm glad the 3-0 Club is coming up. I just hope we can also decentralize it to be able to know who, yes, youths can apply online, but if they need clarification, where can they go to within our region to be able to get more guidance on that? Because as you know, our internet outreach is also not yet at its best, and also our youth level of engagement for learning across the internet is still lacking. So that is what I am hoping for. And Professor Balunyo, I hope we can also have a conversation around involvement of the business community and education of the business community in areas of the ideologies of shared responsibility versus corporate social responsibility. Because if the business community is well aware of the advantages of any idea, and they will know how to participate, then it can be easier to spread out like a wildfire within our region. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. I just want you to keep these two things in mind. One is impact, and two is how do you involve a larger number of people, especially those who don't have internet. Thank you, Daniel. May I take us to the third person, Monica, from the Catholic University of Zimbabwe. Kindly share this story.
Miss Monica, you're on mute. Please, can you kindly unmute yourself?
Thank you. Thank you, Zinat. Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. We are grateful as the Catholic University of Zimbabwe for this platform to learn social business principles, practices, and also trends. And we really support Professor Mohammed Yunus's vision of the 3 zeros: zero poverty, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions. In terms of the Catholic University of Zimbabwe, we have been privileged this year to attend the different sessions that you have held. And we are in the process of establishing our 3 zeros clubs for the benefit of our staff and students. And as part of our engagement, we looked at what are some of the key things that are challenges in the environment, what are the things that are a problem in the world we are living in today. And some of the topical things that our students and staff brought about are teenage pregnancies. And these have increased with the COVID pandemic and the lockdowns. And closely related to that is the issue of child prostitution. We've read in our media with dismay and great concern how children are prostituting for basic things like water. In a number of our cities and towns, we don't have running water in homes, and children have the duties sometimes to ferry the water, and they are exposed to prostitution because they are asking for assistance from men and boys, and that has been a great concern to us. That has also led to child pregnancies. So it's one of the things that we are looking at and saying, how can we assist? We've got some projects in the country, like Musasa Project, who assists children in such circumstances. But as the need is growing, it's one of the areas that we are looking at and saying, how can we help? A related issue is pad poverty, supporting girls, women with menstrual hygiene supplies. Again, because of the impact of the lockdowns, reduced productivity, we are realizing that there's need for more support and more sustainable support. Addressing the issue of domestic violence, we have also read in our media a lot of cases of domestic violence under very unfortunate circumstances, basic things like people fighting over meals or even a drink. We had a report in one of the newspapers about a father really fighting with the wife because he had had the child's drink. So such things just demonstrating the level of poverty that our people are exposed to. One of the things that we also have been talking about is making a difference. Just going back to basics, building on what we have. We've been asking in the engagements around the 3 Zeros Club to say, what do we have that we can use? We've got our students who've got, for instance, after their first semester, second semester, basic skills in digital marketing, training, and other such skills. And we are saying we want to give them platforms to be able to use those skills so that they generate income and reduce poverty. Another element that our students have raised is the issue of mental health, the growing cases of people suffering from depression and distress because of, again, the impact of the COVID pandemic. We have got quite a number of organizations who have already been working in these areas. The Christian Counseling Center, we've got the Friendship Bench led by Professor Dixon Chibanda, a number of them. And we are saying these are good, but the need is growing. So it's another area that we want to look at. The other one is, of course, the issue of hunger, the challenge of inequity in resource distribution and wealth, resulting in some people going hungry, increasing people's vulnerability. So we are basically saying there are a number of issues that are out there. And for us, from a university perspective, we are saying we have also realized that during the pandemic, the opportunities for our students to go on attachment have reduced. So these areas are pointing us to projects that we can encourage our students to establish. And we've been very encouraged by the concept of social business franchising. I think it's something that we are going to look at based on the examples that we got earlier, for instance, the water business. and others that have been talked about, and seeing how we can franchise and give our students an opportunity to actually establish their businesses. I know I've run out of time. Maybe just to wrap up, Prof, I can just say—
Just wrap up, yes.
Yes, we can just say, as a university, one of our main areas is business management and information technology as a program. We have recently introduced an entrepreneurship for impact program. So we are really focusing on those areas and saying, these are areas where students can become entrepreneurs, which is a key part of social business. And we are saying we want to support them so that they also embrace the concept of social business in the projects that we encourage them to do. And the 3 Zeros Club concept is going to be very key for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monica, for that presentation. Again, just be attentive for the questions that may come up. We go to our next presenter. This is Graham Benton, the founder of Zaidi Technologies. Please unmute yourself and make your presentation. Let's limit our presentation to 5 minutes so that we can allow some questions at the end and some clarifications, especially even getting Professor Mohammed Yunus to say something. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I've been actually working in Kenya for the last 10 years, trying to help support smallholder farmers, in particular smallholder dairy farmers. And we recognize that through the 10 years I've been here, I've been really trying to implement various different solutions. And one of the big learnings that I've had early on was that in order to have a meaningful effect, a meaningful positive effect on the lives of these farmers, we really have to solve multiple different problems at the same time. Solving one problem really, really well does not really mean much when there's so many other things, challenges facing this population. Then the second big learning that I've had over the last few years, just recently, was that really the challenge with this is access for physical access to the farmers and financial access. And so we're trying to figure out, how can we incentivize business that have very positive, life-changing effects for these farmers to really move into this space and give them access to these populations of farmers. And so after looking at hundreds of the profiles of smallholder farmers over the years, we really landed on milk being one of the primary and most likely drivers for us to be able to gain access both physically and financially to these farmers. It has the most consistent income source for the farmer base, and it is one of the most valuable commodities that is produced by the farmers at any given time. And so we started working on this problem, but we started really looking at it as building a road, building a pathway to the farmers. So if we can buy the milk from them and figure out a really good way to sell it into the market, and selling it into low-income areas predominantly, because that's where a lot of the consumers are here of milk, we can really start to then be able to push products and services back to the farmers, and we have a financial incentive to do so. And that's something that I think is really missing, is in this space, is to really try and build financial incentives for organizations to move into the space and develop products and services specifically for smallholder farmers. And so what Zaidi Technologies is doing, this is the company that I'm running currently, is that we've developed a mobile platform that we use to digitize the collection process of milk from smallholder farmers. And this is important because it creates the avenue through which we can deliver value. It creates the digital records so we can deliver financial services. It delivers the production records so we can offset loans and things like that to the farmers. And it also allows us to understand their needs so we can deliver the correct asset financing or the correct farm inputs. Then we process the milk and we distribute it through a network of smart milk dispensing machines which we've developed and installed into shops in low-income areas. And this is important because it allows us to sell the milk directly to the consumer, so we can maintain control over the quality of the milk and ensuring the food safety for these low-income populations, something that they do not have access to today. But it also allows us to increase efficiencies throughout the value chain, so that we can deliver higher value products to both the consumers and the producers of the milk. And really, this means that we can also pay farmers on a faster cycle, because we're getting paid in advance, or we're getting paid at the same time we're dispensing milk to the consumers. So we can do a lot more for the farmer base in that regards as well. I think that overall, building the access to the farmers and developing novel ways to sell the milk into lower income areas, using these smart dispensing technologies, means that we can really rebuild the 80% of the dairy sector here in Kenya that is today informal, dramatically inefficient, and ultimately unsafe. And so that's just a little highlight of what we're trying to do here in Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Graham. Our next speaker is Robert of the YY Foundation. Please keep, at the end we may have some questions. Please, thank you. So just keep around. Robert?
Thank you, Prof. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yes. Thank you, Prof. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm glad to be here, and happy Social Business Day. It's a great honor to be in this panel, sitting amongst guys with great minds and experts in their own fields. Thank you, IC, for inviting me, and a happy belated birthday to Professor Yunus. Now, the Yunus and You, the YY Foundation, is dedicated to Professor Yunus' life's work, especially in his concept of social business. Yunus Foundation, together with our organizing partners of Grameen Creative Lab, Yunus Environment Hub, Yunus Center, and Yunus Social Business, are implementing a holistic 3-year program to address unemployment and environmental issues in East Africa. The project is hinged on 4 pillars, and I would like to briefly touch on some of the activities and initiatives that we are implementing in East Africa to push the social business agenda. First and foremost is the ecosystem building. This is at the core of our program in East Africa and is being implemented by Grameen Creative Lab. This is simply to inspire the next generation of social business entrepreneurs by building a community of social business movements that brings together East Africa social business representatives, NGOs, universities, politicians, and foundations to come together and exchange ideas on show that social business is a development factor. To this end, we've held 2 forums. The first one was held last year. That is the first East Africa Social Business Forum, held in December. And then just recently, we concluded the East Africa Impact Days that ended on the 23rd of June. The second pillar is university program. And the idea is to plant the seeds of entrepreneurship among the youth. We want to change their mindsets. We are telling them, you are not just job seekers, but you can also be job creators. How do we do this? Yunus Center has held numerous workshops in East Africa, that is in Kenya and Uganda, to introduce this concept amongst university students. Also, they're using the concept of Yunus Social Business Centers. Yunus Social Business Center is a social business hub in universities that analyzes the concept of social business in all its perspectives among students, academics, and researchers. These centers are supported with the necessary resources, skills, tools, frameworks to be able now to create impact. So far, from East Africa, the latest to join this global network of over 91 Yunus Social Business Centers is Tangaza University. And I'm glad, Professor Bulunywa, yesterday in your opening remarks, you mentioned that Makerere is also planning to join this global network. The third pillar is the incubation program. Now, after we've sown these seeds of entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurs are taken through an immersive 3-stage incubation program to kickstart and incubate these new social business ideas. Under this, we have 3 activities that we're implementing in East Africa. One is the Start Now program. This is an 8-week self-learning online course for social business plan creations. The platform allows the entrepreneurs to build their theory of change, product market strategy. They're also able to measure impacts, among other topics that they run. This project runs on a rolling basis. Currently, we have done the first cohort, which is completed. The second cohort is currently running, and the third cohort is set to begin sometime early July. The second activity is Grow Up, which is a 5-month incubator for green social businesses. It provides capacity building for post-revenue social businesses that have proven their concept. They are looking to scale and want to become financially self-sustainable. The first cohort is currently underway with 10 social businesses undergoing the training. Then lastly on this pillar is the Zero Plastic Waste City. This is a program to alleviate plastic leakage in the environment. So this is to be scaled in Kenya, in the cities of Mombasa and Nairobi, and also in Ethiopia. The last pillar is the growth and financial support offered by WISEB. They offer an investment readiness program that targets growth stage social businesses that want to become investment ready. Then the last support from WISEB's financial support. They have experience, WISEB has experience in screening social businesses for potential financing. And in the last 1 year, about 3 social businesses have been provided with financial support. So generally for the last 1 year, the major challenge has been issues around the pandemic. And this affected our programs in a major way. Last year, almost the whole year, schools closed. So this means in terms of university programs, the YSBCs were put on hold, but it has peaked and quite a number of institutions have expressed interest to join these global networks. There are still more opportunities. And as the executive director of UNAIDS, Winnie Nyanyima, mentioned in our opening remarks yesterday, that the pandemic feeds on inequality. We are not going back. Now more than ever, the support for social businesses should be enhanced. And that is why YYF, together with the implementing partners, are seeking for long-lasting partnerships for collective impact. Thank you, and back to you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Robert. Thank you for that great work that's taking place around. Let's go to our next presenter this afternoon, Catherine Ghana, our investment advisor, the Foundation Grameen Credit Agricole. Catherine?
Yes, thank you very much for giving me a chance to be part of this panel. Before I give you some examples of the social businesses we are supporting, just a brief introduction of the foundation for those who don't know us yet. The Grameen Credit Agricole Foundation is a partnership between the Grameen Trust and Crédit Agricole, which is a large French commercial bank that has agricultural roots and cooperative values. Our main activities are in the microfinance space, where we support a total of 77 microfinance institutions. Mostly we do that with debt financing, but over half of them are also receiving technical assistance through us. In addition to that, we've also been active in the social business space for over 10 years, where we're currently holding shares in 11 different companies. So now zooming into the East and Southern Africa region a bit more. In that region, we're actually much more active in microfinance than in social business, and we've lent over 30 million euro in that region over the past 10 years. But we do have investments in social businesses as well. And I want to talk to you about those a little bit more. They're both in Kenya, and they're actually quite good examples of the activities we have in that space in general in other regions. The first one is called Divert. It's an agribusiness that sources primarily fresh produce from small groups of farmers in rural Kenya, and then sells them on the European market as organic or fair trade products, which ensures that the farmers receive a premium price for those products. As for many of our investees, financial sustainability remains a challenge for Vert. But what has been helping them is diversification. And luckily and interestingly, one of the products that they added before the pandemic has actually helped them weather this crisis, and that is mango pulp and dried mango, which they've recently added to their product line. Then the second company we're supporting, also in Kenya, is called Acre, and that is an insure tech company. They make agricultural insurance available to smallholder farmers, and with that support, of course, food security, but also adaptation to climate change. Our social business team has put together a white paper on all of our experiences over the span of 10 years as an investor in the social business arena. So if you're interested in reading more about that, you can download that on our website. Just maybe put a question in the comments, and then I'll share the link to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for that presentation. Quite spot on. We'll go to our last presenter this afternoon before we invite some questions. Of course, we'll ask Mohammed Yunus to make some comments, and then if there are questions, please type them in the chat so that we can do this in the interest of time. Yes, Marcel, our last presenter this afternoon, please let's hear the story from Ghana. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today. So my name is Marcel. I am the program lead for Challenges Ghana. So Challenges Ghana is part of the Challenges group of companies. And we're a group of enterprise consultancies focusing on inclusive growth across developing and emerging economies. But we really have a large portfolio of our work in 5 of our key markets, so which is Ghana, Malawi, Rwanda, Uganda, and Zambia. Where I work in the space we do a lot of youth employment and entrepreneurship programming. And in the 4 years since we've been working across some of our key markets, we supported over 2,000 young people and over 650 enterprises, primarily social enterprises. I'll briefly talk about one of the projects, the Youth to Work program, which is funded by the Standard Chartered Foundation. So what that program tries to do is to have an ecosystem approach. We have young graduates who we train and we put them on placements to work with social enterprises. So within these social enterprises, they will analyze the problems that the enterprises face, develop recommendations, and try and implement some of the changes that are needed. So this came off a pilot which we ran in Uganda. So the pilot was with 40 enterprises placed within 40 young people placed within 40 enterprises. And from then we have scaled the program to Zambia and Ghana as well. So we've just finished a cohort in Zambia and Ghana, and we are currently running our second cycle in Uganda. But the interesting thing that has come out of this program is a collaboration that we have developed with the Yunus Environment Hub. So we are now piloting a smaller project with about 12 of our junior associates who have worked with some of these enterprises, and they're going to act as mentors to some entrepreneurs who want to develop social businesses. So through this structured 8-week program, our young people will be helping them shape their business plans, where week by week they will cover certain modules. So they'll move from understanding the business idea to developing a value proposition to stakeholder mapping, all the way through to taking off their business plan at the end. So there will be a week-on-week interaction between the young person and the entrepreneur. And by the end, the entrepreneur should have a business plan. They will join the UNIS Environment Hub family, where they will be linked to different opportunities and different offers. And the interesting thing about this is our young people have seen how these social businesses operate. They understand the challenges and some of the pitfalls, and they are in a position to be able to help these entrepreneurs really shape their ideas. And hopefully, as I said, by the end of the 8-week program, they will have business plans, knowing exactly the problems that they're trying to solve, who they're trying to target, the financial model and the financial viability around their ideas, and how they'll really take this idea to market. So briefly, that is what we have been doing in this space. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcel. Friends who are on this call, we've had the presentation from all our panelists. I don't want to repeat what they've said, but I'd like to see it so far. I think it was addressed to Felix. Felix, if you could just look at that chat and see. Can we hear from the people in the audience who are tuned in? Some questions to the different panelists?
Sorry, what was the question?
Felix, have you seen the question that was addressed to you? Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, what was the question?
There is a question in the chat. The question is, kudos for the great work you are doing fighting malnutrition in Tanzania. I would love to understand the approach you are using to reach out to the larger population, taking into consideration that the dosifiers might not be cheap. How do you balance sustainability versus the impact you bring?
Yeah, so just to describe our model, we recognize that these small millers can't afford this equipment. So they can't afford the upfront capital, nor can they afford the recurring cost of the nutrients. So we designed a model that essentially neutralizes the entire cost for millers, incentivizing them to do the job. And the most important result is that mothers or whoever buying fortified flour don't have to pay more. So we are able to get grants for these dosifiers, essentially allowing these millers to use them cost-free as long as they comply. And then we're able to offset the cost of their nutrients by reducing the cost of their other inputs. We bulk purchase, for example, their flour bags direct from a vendor. We see a margin. We're able to neutralize the cost of the nutrients. So the miller, it's quite an easy sell. They get this piece of equipment they get to use for cost-free, and the recurring cost of the nutrients are offset as well. For us, we've proven that model works. It's gotten us from 20,000 people up to 2 million, and eventually up to 25 million.
Thank you, Felix. Daniel, I asked a question about sustainability. I don't know whether you could just show it at the moment, but our audience, please, participants, if you have any question to any of the presenters, please type it out in the chat or put your hand up when you can ask you to speak.
Prof, what was the question again?
I talked about sustainability of the model, and the other one was, how do you reach out to the poor people who don't have access to internet? If we have programs that are e-based.
Yeah, sustainability is really a key thing. As earlier said, our financial sustainability, most especially, is based on us creating material that can be afforded, can be purchased, can be bought at almost a giveaway price. So it means that we have to work with, we're having collaborative effort with publishers, as long as they know that what we're doing is something that is beneficial to the society. So that's why we're negotiating from, but able to be having material as cheap as $1 to be able to use, for example, for our school projects for leadership. But then we also continue and we offer free services in terms of training of teachers on how to run our student leadership programs and of the sort. Now with the musomesa.org, which is our online platform, really we had not rolled out to start to start selling out this content yet, because we had started on the building phase of, can we just first train these teachers? Once these teachers are trained and we are able to sell their content, they're able to sell their content, then a portion of it, which is about 40%, is what will stay with us, and then they take the rest. The beauty about this is that content can be bought as and when, and they'll have to keep on having income on that. The fact that once the schools are shut down, and especially the teachers in private schools, they don't have to completely be rendered helpless in terms of getting an income. You have to make a service and also find a way of earning from it.
Okay, thank you very much. Friends, I'm going to invite Professor Mohammed Yunus to make a few statements after this. But in the meantime, those who may wish to have some responses from the panelists, please say so. Otherwise, for all panelists, there's somebody who is asking about references to white paper. Please look at the chat and see there's a question out there. But Zenat, is Professor Mohammed Yunus available to speak to us this
I'm here.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Do you want me to?
Yes, you had the experiences. If you kindly make some comments on them, and then appreciate the various people.
Thank you, Professor Waswa, and from Makerere University. We are very happy that you organized this panel discussion. We were looking forward to it. We were trying to see how widely we can get connected with the young people in Africa. We're now focusing on East Africa to begin with, but overall, Africa as a whole. One of the issues that I mentioned, that and everybody mentions that too, that Africa is a continent of young people. It's a vast majority of Africans are youth. And that is something very exciting from our point of view, that I was saying that if youth take over the responsibility of making their world, probably that will be a better world than what we have done. We made lots of damages without caring for the next generation. So next generation fell into the trouble. Now we encourage the next generation to take responsibility of their own in creating their own world. So Africa would be a good place where young people can do such a thing, to make a big impact in thinking and the proceedings of the activities of African countries, African communities, and so on, everywhere. So this will be our main goal. And we're very happy that we made good contact with many universities in Africa. And we are going around to see, because that's where the young people are, universities, colleges, schools. And this time we launched this 3-0 club idea. And in that we define young people, someone starting from age 12 to 35. So that's a range where it's very young people in the school. Student can become part of that club or have their own club. The idea is to get them acquainted with the issue, that yes, what are the issues, what are the things, they feel it in their own way and make it happen. So how to bring it to the attention of the young people in Africa to make it happen, that would be something very important for us. And we have discussed that, and one question raised, there are places where the internet doesn't exist. So this whole 3-0 club is connected with the internet, that the internet is the only power that can go. Yes, that's true, but that shouldn't stop us. Wherever internet ends, some other kind of thing to the start. That the club is there, but it's not connected with the internet. They somehow connect with the nearest internet and do something. They will figure it out. This is a problem. This is an issue. I want to create, or we want to create a 3-0 club, but we don't have internet. What do we do? So collectively, we think we will not dismiss them. No, you're not qualified to join 3-0 club. We are saying very much qualified. Very much your claim is as good as any other club requirement. So we'll pay attention to it, but we must find a solution. We don't have a solution now, but definitely we'll come up with some solution. May not be as quick, as fast as the internet, but it will be a slow process, but it can work. So this is one way to address that. We are very happy these contacts are being made, but I should mention that this is not the first time that we are trying to make us known to people in Africa. We have several organizations. Even today's discussion, you'll notice several organizations already representing in Africa, like Yunus Environment Hub, already talking about their work and so on. And YY Foundation, that's another Yunus organization. So they're very much part of it. It's already exists in Africa. And then Yunus Sports Hub, that also exists. They have office and they have people represented and so on. The only thing is how to expand this. Credit Agricole, we have a joint venture. We have Grameen Credit Agricole Microfinance Foundation. So they have many activities in Africa. So through them, we are also connected with Africa. So that's another one that we can be doing. GCL, Grameen Creative Lab, they have some contact, some work in Africa also. Again, this is all in the family. That's what I was trying to mention, that this is not something different. And Danone Communities Fund, this is very important fund, about the 80 million euro fund, something. They have lots of programs in Africa. So again, that's a Danone Communities Fund is also connected with us. We work with Danone. The whole Danone Communities Fund was created because of the connections that we have established and created social business. And the Danone Communities Fund is devoted to promoting social business. So that's another one. The more we can get rooted in Africa, the more of these facilities can grow. We can help bring more interested groups to come and work in Africa. So this would be one important relationship that we want to build and see how far we can go, how young people can be excited about it. And now that we have launched 3-0 Club, see if you can make it understandable to the young people. We don't expect on day one, everybody will be joining it, but beginning can be made in the family, in our own families, in other children of the friends and relatives and known people, and also the universities and the colleges where they are in. Explain to them if they are interested. This is not something forcingly done that. It's just something natural. Yes, I would like to get involved with it. And how do I do that? And we are saying that once you get into 3-0 Club, you have a worldwide friendship relationship you can build. It's young to young. There's not older people involved in this whole scenario. So young people getting involved with young people. And there also we are encouraging to have it in their own language. So they have to translate everything in their own language and communicate their own languages and so on. English can be used for international outside Africa or outside their language group. They can use English or French, whatever they are. But within themselves, they can use their own languages. This is their own choice. This is not something imposed by anything else. So that's another option. And also it's not politically done. So it's not a country-wise, you have to do this, another country has to do this. It's a borderless relationship. I have one 3-0 Club in Uganda. I have a relationship with another Kenya, another group in Kenya, another club in Kenya, another club in Mozambique, whatever it is. So I'm connected with each other. So young people think more outside their boundary lines and so on. And then they don't have to limit themselves that my concern, my idea has to be only relevant to what I see around us. What I see around us is important because that's my consciousness, that's what it comes from, but I can share it with everybody else. I don't feel uncomfortable in sharing with everybody else. So that's what the 3-0 Club thing will be coming in. So with your discussions that we have today, there are many things that we can bring up with the social business ideas and the ideas of healthcare and social business and ideas of sports and the social business, with the environment and the social business. These are specific social business companies that we already created. It's already there. So they can be working with you and make things happen in collaboration with you. So we'll be looking forward that this relationship can grow. This is the first time that we had deliberately tried to reach out to Africa, and that's why we are very happy that you responded to it. And it can be grown, it can be expanded. We can have an All Africa Social Business Forum and discuss this. It's no problem today because of the technology. It doesn't even take time to organize such a thing. If people are interested to talk about it, do something. But the important thing has to be something concrete. It's not a kind of a talking club. We keep on talking, do nothing. That's not what we do. All our talk is related to work, concrete work. And that's what excites us, that we work and we produce results. Sometimes we fail in our results, but we don't get upset about it. We try again, because sometimes when you do something, it doesn't work exactly the way you expect it. So you redesign, you do it again until you find the real result coming. Then excitement begins. So this is the direction that we would like to go. So I'm very happy that we could have this time together and discuss. And I hope this will continue in our exchanges, in our communications. And I want to thank all the participants in this panel, and particularly Professor Waswa for making this moderation. This is one great job that you have done. Let's keep together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yunus. Zanat, how much time more do we have? How many minutes can we use to wind up this?
We're almost time's up. 1 minute more.
Okay. Well, let me use the opportunity to thank every panelist. Thank you very much for these wonderful stories. May I make a request? At Mackay University Business School, we have a center where we have a group of social business people, young people. If we could have your cases, if you could write us a case, we could avail this case, and possibly even the Yunus Center could have these cases, available for publication. Later on, academicians, we tend to want things in a certain manner, but they could be used as case studies for, people who want to understand what social business is. So please, if you really wish, you could send us these. I hope my colleague, Miss Diana, Dr. Diana Ntamu is on call. If you can kindly put your email address in the chat so that people can send out these case studies so that you can share them with young people who want to start something similar. But otherwise, I want to thank Professor Mohammed Yunus very much for this wonderful idea of social business. I think in solving the challenges that we have in society today, especially now with the coronavirus pandemic, people out there are looking for something to eat, and the only person who can be able to find them something to eat is a social business, somebody who is out doing business, but with that social aim in mind. Thank you, panelists, for the wonderful presentations. Thank you for agreeing to be with us this afternoon. May I, on behalf of the Yunus Center, say have a wonderful afternoon, and we hope to be able to be in touch again. Zanat, back to you, our host this afternoon.
Thank you. Did a good job.
Yes, thank you very much. This has been a great conversation. Thank you to our moderator, Professor Waswa, and to all our panelists for sharing about your activities. Now that we're connected to you. This is just the beginning. We from UNIS Center will be working with a lot of universities in Africa, especially in the East Africa region, and we will connect to you to learn about your practical experiences and share with our students. So this is just the beginning. You'll hear a lot more from us. So thank you very, very much. Thank you, Professor Yunus, for your time also. And with this, I would like to hand over to my co-MC, Mr. Prometheus. And this session concludes here. Please continue to watch our event into the next session, which will be on Grameen America. Over to you, Prometheus.
Thank you very much, Zeenat. It was an absolute pleasure hearing all the speakers. Just a bit of quick announcement now. In order for us to set up our smooth transition into the Grameen America session, we request everyone to please stay tuned in. We'll take about 7 minutes of break right now and return shortly, but please stay